What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're not just talking about another beautiful video game, we're talking about a technical benchmark, a graphical line in the sand that every open world title, including the behemoth that is GTA 6, must now strive to cross. That benchmark is Ghost of Yōtei. When Sucker Punch Productions released this standalone sequel, they did more than give us a new world to explore. They gave us a technical showcase built exclusively for the PlayStation 5 generation. Forget Ghost of Tsushima's cross-gen limitations. Yotei is pure, unadulterated next-gen power. We're going to dissect Ghost of Yōtei's deepest technical features, the PS5 Pro's VVR frame rates, the unprecedented ray tracing implementation, and those ultra-realistic micro-details like blinking eyes and advanced hair physics that many games ignore. Why? Because the graphics we see in Yotei are now the minimum expectation for GTA 6. If Ghost of Yōtei can do this with the PS5 and PS5 Pro, imagine what Rockstar's proprietary engine running on fully optimized next-gen consoles and powerful PCs can achieve. Let's dive deep and see exactly what GTA 6's graphics need to look like. The most compelling aspect of Ghost of Yōtei's technical package is how it handles the PS5 Pro. This isn't a simple resolution boost, it's a fundamental overhaul of the lighting and rendering pipeline. The ray tracing revolution. The biggest difference between Tsushima and Yotei is the scope of ray tracing, or RT. While Tsushima might have used limited, low-resolution RT reflections, Yotei goes all in, and this is the core of its visual fidelity. Ray tracing global illumination, or RTGI. This is the king of next-gen lighting. RTGI simulates how light bounces and illuminates a scene, making the light feel physically real. Think about standing in a dense cedar forest in Yotei. The light isn't just shining down, it's filtering through the canopy, bouncing off the mossy ground, and coloring the shadowed areas realistically. This is what brings depth and realism to the entire world, and it's a huge computational feat. Ray-traced reflections. This is the most visible use of RT. Every water surface, from a small puddle in a stone village to the massive icy lakes in Yotei, reflects the environment with perfect dynamic accuracy. Metallic armor, wet rocks during a downpour, and highly polished interiors all act as real-world mirrors. This level of environmental interaction is a massive hurdle for open-world teams. Ray-traced shadows. Shadows are no longer simple, hard lines. They are soft, accurate, and dynamically change based on the exact position of the sun and environmental obstructions. This adds a critical layer of realism that standard shadow maps simply cannot replicate. The 40 FPS and VVR philosophy. Beyond the pure visual fidelity, Yotei targets a new standard for smoothness on consoles: 40 frames per second. This isn't an arbitrary number. The PS5 Pro version often runs in a balance mode that targets a locked 40 FPS. This mode is dependent on a 120Hz compatible display. The math is simple and elegant. A 120Hz display updates every 8.3 milliseconds. If a new frame is delivered every 3 refresh cycles, that's 40 frames per second. Why is this a big deal? It's significantly smoother than the traditional 30 FPS fidelity mode, vastly reducing motion blur and making camera movement feel fluid. Yet it allows the GPU to handle a heavier graphical workload like full ray tracing than a locked 60 FPS performance mode would allow. It's the perfect compromise. And then there's VVR, or variable refresh rate. While a 40 FPS lock is ideal, the world of Yotei is hyper-dynamic. When a massive snowstorm rolls in, or an intense combat encounter triggers a complex particle effect explosion, frame rates can momentarily dip. VVR ensures that when these inevitable dips occur, the motion remains synchronized with the display, eliminating screen tearing and mitigating judder. It's a crucial tool for maintaining the illusion of smooth motion in a graphically demanding open-world setting. And finally, the whole image is cleaned up by Sony's PSSR. This is a machine learning upscaling technique that renders the game at a lower internal resolution and then intelligently reconstructs it to a higher resolution near native 4K, allowing the console's power to be poured into the lighting and physics instead of brute force pixel pushing. The technical features are just the infrastructure. The true magic of Ghost of Yōtei and what separates it from most other open-world games is the physics engine and its focus on micro details that trick the brain into believing what it sees. Unprecedented hair and cloth physics. The clothing and hair of the protagonist, Atsu, are not simply animated, they are simulated. This is a difference only a robust engine can handle. Hair simulation. Atsu's complex hairstyle reacts to every force in the game: acceleration, inertia, wind, and even the splash of water. If Atsu dashes forward and suddenly stops, the hair continues its momentum, settling naturally over several frames. When a sudden gust of wind, part of the guiding system, hits, the strands dynamically separate and billow. This is computationally expensive, requiring hundreds of thousands of calculations per frame to manage the individual groups of strands, but the result is a character that feels physically connected to their environment. The cloth physics. This extends to the voluminous capes, sashes, and layered armor. The fabric layers interact with each other. If Atsu crouches against the rock, the cloak doesn't clip through. It realistically compresses and folds against the surface. This level of cloth fidelity is a crucial component of realism that GTA 6 will need to replicate for character customization to feel truly next-gen. The human element. Eyes and skin. This is where Yotei truly excels and provides a direct challenge to Rockstar. Sucker Punch invested heavily in capturing the subtle details of human anatomy. Subsurface scattering, SSS, and skin. The character models utilize advanced SSS to simulate how light penetrates the skin's surface and scatters beneath it before exiting. This is what makes skin look soft, organic, and slightly translucent, especially around the ears or when light catches the cheek. Without this, skin looks waxy and flat. The micro blink and eye movement. In many older games, character eyes stare blankly or blink on a simple, predictable loop. In Yotei, the NPCs and Atsu use complex programming for natural eye movement, known as saccades, which are the rapid involuntary shifts in gaze. Crucially, they incorporate microblinks, those tiny, often unconscious flickers of the eyelids that are non-scripted and tied to the AI's level of attention or stress. It's a small detail, but it's the difference between a character model and the believable personality. Destructive and dynamic environments. Finally, the sheer environmental interactivity is a benchmark. The game features extensive environmental destruction and interaction, especially during intense duels. Cutting through bamboo, scarring wooden fences, and leaving deep footprints in the new snowy and muddy Ezo environments are all dynamic physics calculations, not pre-baked animations. This depth of interaction is something GTA 6, with its promise of a dynamic world, will absolutely need to match. The raw technical power is the tool, but the beauty of Ghost of Yōtei is in the artistry. The new setting of Ezo, with its unique climate, allows the studio to showcase their engine with a far greater visual variety than the first game. Dynamic, multi-layered weather. The shift to Ezo introduces complex weather events that stress the ray tracing and physics engines simultaneously. Heavy snow and ice. The game features massive, physically based snow accumulation. Snow isn't just a texture, it builds up on surfaces, and the depth of the snow layer changes dynamically, impacting player movement and leaving deep trails. When the wind picks up, the snow is not just a particle effect. It is affected by the same wind simulation that moves Atsu's cloak. The voluminous fog and mist. The mountainous regions utilize volumetric effects to render fog and mist in a highly realistic 3D space. This creates stunning depth of field and atmosphere in the valleys and forests, often diffusing the sun and moonlight realistically thanks to the RTGI system. Sucker Punch uses its engine to create vistas that maintain visual fidelity right to the horizon line. The draw distance is immense, and the level of flora and fauna density is extremely high. There are thousands of dynamically moving grass tufts and flower petals, all reacting to the guiding wind. This artistic commitment to visual density means that the world is not just large, but richly detailed everywhere you look, preventing that barren feeling that can plague large open-world environments. This blending of technical achievement, ray tracing, and advanced physics with unparalleled art direction is what sets the ultimate graphical standard for 2025 and beyond. So, why does any of this matter for GTA 6? Ghost of Yōtei is a perfect roadmap. It tells us exactly what the current generation hardware, when pushed to its absolute limit, can achieve. If Sucker Punch can deliver full ray trace global illumination in a massive open-world setting with dynamic 40 FPS performance, hyper-realistic micro-details like blinking and hair physics, and complex physically based weather, then Rockstar, with their resources and their custom, highly optimized Rage engine, has no excuse to deliver anything less. GTA 6 will need to match Ghost of Yōtei's fidelity and then raise the bar by applying it to a dense, chaotic modern city environment. We need to see that level of skin SSS, that level of fabric detail, that fidelity of lighting and reflection across every single asset in Vice City, from the characters' clothes to the polished chrome of the cars and the reflections in the endless city streets. Ghost of Yōtei isn't just a stunning game, it's a technical challenge laid down for the entire industry. And now, the ball is in Rockstar's court. What feature do you think GTA 6 will struggle the most to match from Ghost of Yōtei? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of gaming graphics. Thanks for watching.